Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
And we begin with a case against former University of Michigan doctor Robert Anderson. It'll get even darker tomorrow with more victims coming forward. Glad you're with us tonight. One of those victims is Matt Schembechler, the son of the legendary coach Bo, who is going to detail how he was molested by Anderson when he was just a child.
He's also revealing the physical confrontation that followed when he told his father. Jason Colthart live at Schembechler Hall in Ann Arbor tonight with the new stunning details.
Yeah, good evening, Kimberly. More than 800 people, mostly young men, have come forward now since February of 2020 to say they were sexually assaulted by Dr. Anderson, who gave them unnecessary probing exams and worse. And the number of people who are now saying Bo Schembechler was told and did nothing continues to grow, and tonight includes his own son.
Matt Schembechler was first abused by Dr. Anderson in 1969 when he was just 10 years old, according to his attorney, Mick Graywall. He says Matt told his father, Bo, who went berserk like one of his sideline rants, even punching Matt in the chest and saying, "I am not going to hear this." Graywall also says Matt remembers that Don Canham assured his mother, Millie, he would fire Anderson, but was asked not to by Bo. Matt says he was abused again at age 16 by Anderson during a physical. Tomorrow, Schembechler will be joined by two former football players at a press conference. Dan Kwiatkowski, an offensive tackle who played from 77 to 79, and Gilvani Johnson, a wide receiver from 82 to 86, who say they were abused multiple times by Anderson.
Big decision here.
Both say they told Bo of the abuse immediately, and Kwiatkowski even says Bo told him to, quote, toughen up. Their accounts, along with the hundreds of others, fly in the face of what current head coach and former UM quarterback Jim Harbaugh told the media a week ago. There's nothing that was ever swept under the rug or ignored, Harbaugh said. That's the Bo Schembechler that I knew. Former All-Big Ten running back John Vaughn called those comments heartless and told the Free Press this week, it's clear to survivors of Anderson that Harbaugh is against them.
Matt is 62 now. He's the youngest son of Bo's first wife, Millie. We should also point out that all of those that are accused in this case cannot defend themselves. Don Canham died in 2005, Bo in 2006, and Dr. Anderson in 2008. Kimberly?
Jason, before you go, for those familiar with the Schembechler family, it's not a complete shock that his son would make this allegation publicly, right?
Correct. In 1999, Matt actually coaxed another former player to write an article for a magazine about how he hated Bo for the way he was treated. It was called Bully Bo. And then around that same time, he also actually sued Bo, along with the university and some others, over his business and saying that they were trying to ruin his reputation. So, yeah people who know probably don't find it all too shocking.
Right. Certainly more to come on this story, and we'll be following it. Jason, we appreciate it.
Pretty much been deja vu this week with the forecast, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit another warm and muggy night. Are we getting more of the same tomorrow?
Pretty much, guys. I'm not doing a lot of good television here because there's nothing to really tease ahead to. You know what's coming because we've been through it for the last few days. But let's look outside tonight. There is a little bit of a change, at least in parts of the area. Temperatures don't look half bad. Those dew points, though, they're still in the mid to upper 60s. That's pretty humid air. But check this out. Dew point into the 50s there in Port Huron. We're starting to see that front make a move. And at least for part of the north zone, you're getting a little bit of relief. But we did have those thunderstorms fire in the afternoon. They faded as the sun went down, just like clockwork, and we'll pretty much see a similar pattern tomorrow, starting out at 68, finishing or at least going to 80 by noon. But right when we start tomorrow morning, as the sun comes up, we've got an eclipse tomorrow. It's not the show that we saw just a few years ago. We'll talk about just exactly what to expect and how things are going to change as we get towards the upcoming weekend. That I can tease ahead to. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, guys.
All right, Ben. There are 24 cities across the state of Michigan where workers pay city income tax, even if they don't live in that community. Of those 24 cities, Detroit taxes the most of its non-resident workers at 1.2%. Mara McDonald live downtown tonight because there is now a bill up for discussion in Lansing, Mara, that would ban these kinds of income taxes.
And Devin, I want to be super clear that while this bill certainly has its champions and possibly if it could pass through both houses, the idea that this governor would sign it, mighty slim. That said, with so many people working from home because of COVID, it sure starts an interesting conversation. Let me show you why.
I like to call it is the no taxation without representation bill.
State Representative Pam Hornberger appearing in front of the Tax Policy Committee today with her bill, which would end the practice of taking income tax from workers who are non-residents.
I've heard from cities across our state that have come to me as the chair of the Tax Policy Committee looking for answers because they're seeing more and more employees going to remote work.
Only 24 communities across the state of Michigan implement the practice, including Detroit, which the state treasury says lost out on more than $23 million of those taxes after workers were able to show on their tax returns they were not physically present working in Detroit during the pandemic. Non-resident workers can try to recoup some of those tax dollars by proving they spend time outside of the city. Hornberger doesn't believe cities should be able to put income tax on people who have no say in how the city's government is run.
You have absolutely no representation, you have no say, and yet you're being taxed simply based on the fact that you work, you drive to work in that city.
The Michigan Municipal League came out hard against cutting off a source of revenue. Still, if work from home becomes a new normal post-COVID, these cities will continue to lose out on this revenue stream. Back here live, I think it's important to point out that it is not historically financially distressed cities that are the only ones who are doing this. For example, Grand Rapids has an income tax on non-resident city workers. As far as this bill, it was in committee today. It was not voted on. Will it likely come up again? You bet. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Interesting debate. All right, Mara.
A Detroit man is now charged with murder in the deadly stabbing of a homeless man in Livonia. Police say 21-year-old Cameron LaFleur was crossing Middle Belt back on May 25th with a coworker when the victim directed a racial slur at the two men. Police say when the confrontation continued, LaFleur pulled out a knife and stabbed the 23-year-old victim in the chest. LaFleur fled the scene and was arrested Monday. He'll be arraigned on second-degree murder charges tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Detroit police say a mother is not at fault in the tragic crash that left her son dead.
Officers released the woman from custody after determining she was not under the influence of alcohol, though she remains hospitalized after being injured in the crash. It happened early this morning near West 7 Mile and Faust. Police say a 37-year-old man caused the crash when he drove into the mother and child's vehicle. That man was killed in the wreck. In East Point, a teenager is being charged as an adult in the stabbing attack of a classmate. We reported this last week as it happened inside East Point High. Police say the 15-year-old stabbed another student in the torso a number of times. The victim was rushed to the hospital, did manage to survive the attack. The 15-year-old defendant is now facing attempted murder charges. Detroit is taking the COVID-19 vaccine to residents who may not have had a chance to get to it.
The city is scheduling appointments for homebound residents of all ages. It will also vaccinate any family members of homebound residents who haven't gotten the shot. The U.S. is buying 500 million more vaccine doses for the COVAX program. They'll be donated to lower-income countries over the next year. Meanwhile, the state reports 257 new cases and 7 additional deaths today. The state's vaccination rate remains at 59.8%.
Auto plant workers are going to continue to wear masks at work. The UAW says it will continue with face coverings out of an abundance of caution. Hand washing, wearing safety glasses, and social distancing, it'll all continue for the time being. The UAW does expect temperature screenings to be phased out with other adjustments to entry and exit procedures.
Still ahead, an unusual pursuit involving a $200,000 Lamborghini and a scooter.
The desperate actions the victim took to get his dream car back.
And it happened during the middle of last year's racial injustice protests. A just-released report now revealing New information about who gave the order for police to clear peaceful protesters from a Washington, D.C. park. Tim.
Well, we've seen the renderings. Now it's time we start seeing some concrete going up. And don't we just? Down in Delray tonight, the Gordie Howe Bridge is taking shape. We send Drone 4 up with a Gordie Howe Bridge update. Next on the Night Cam.